Just because someone asks you a question, it does not mean you have to answer them. Just because someone wants to know something, it does not mean you have to answer them. There's some people that are inquiring about what's going on in your life, not because they care, but because they want to pass it on, or they want to use that information in the future against you. It's really important for you to have personal information boundaries. Hello and welcome. If you're new here, my name is Chidon Pofu. I'm your personal emotional intelligence detective. Welcome to the Fit with Chido family, where we go beyond physical fitness, striving for mental and emotional fitness. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you get notifications. Today, we're going to be talking about gatekeeping. I am a master gatekeeper when it comes to personal information, when it comes to what's going on in my life. And I learned to do this after looking back in my life and realizing how being so open and transparent may have put me in questionable situations. Not everybody that's asking you questions has your best interests at heart. Not everybody that's asking you questions is just curious. Some people want to actually do something with that information. It's really important for you to have this standard and understanding of what's okay to share and what's not okay to share, who to share with and who not to share with. Because the last thing you want is to find out that someone used information that you gave them to sabotage you or get in your way in some way. There's also a spiritual side to this. A lot of people believe in what they call monitoring spirits, evil eye. I won't touch on that too much, but that's something else to look at as well. When you're deciding whether to tell someone something or not, you need to ask yourself a couple of questions. The first question is, who is this person? What do they mean to me? And how does me sharing this information help them, as well as how does it help me? So sometimes you sharing your information, you're happy and you want to share your joy with the other person. Sometimes you're sharing your information with someone because you know they care about you and they want to stay in the know in terms of what's going on in your life. For whatever reason you want to share this information, you always need to understand who you're telling it to, how it benefits you, how it benefits them, and how they're going to take it. How have they responded to you sharing certain things in the past? If you've told someone personal information in the past and then they spread it, you shouldn't be telling them anything in the future or the present because they've already shown you that they don't keep things to themselves. They don't understand that you shouldn't be sharing your friends' information. In fact, a lot of people who attack you usually get the information from your friends and not from you. They go to your friends and then they ask questions about what's going on in your life, or that person might even freely give out that information without being asked. And then someone now knows a piece of information, they add it to some puzzle that they've been building for years, and they end up sabotaging you or harming you in some way. Ask yourself this question. Why do people get so upset when they realize they didn't know something about you, or when they realize they didn't have a certain piece of information? Yes, there are situations in which the person cares about you and they would have wanted to know what's going on. But most of the times, it's actually because they're finding out too late. They can't do anything about the information anymore. One thing I've noticed is people don't actually think about their personal information boundaries. In the same way that you wouldn't want someone just grabbing your hand or like touching you in any way, it's the same way you wouldn't want someone just knowing stuff about you and talking about what's going on in your life. It's the same thing. I saw this interview between Oprah Winfrey and Brene Brown. And Brene Brown was saying people need to earn the right to hear your story, to know what's going on in your life. and mentioned that when you share information with people who haven't earned the right to know your story, that's when they violate what they're hearing. That's when people will say whatever it is they want. We see this a lot with celebrities sharing personal information, and then people start making memes about it, saying insensitive things about what's going on. They don't even have the full picture. They don't even understand how it's affecting you and how their commentary is affecting you. So it's always important for you to understand that when you share information, whether it's at a large scale or to one person, you can't control what that person is going to do with that information. And you need to make sure it's not something that's sensitive. It's not something that you wouldn't want coming back to you twisted. It's not something that you would want someone to meddle in. And you need to know that the person you're sharing your information with is trustworthy. They actually care about you. They actually want you to succeed. They want to see good things happen to you. One pitfall that I see a lot of people getting into is if you grew up in an enmeshed family where there's forced closeness, like people just think because you're talking, they just share information, like what's going on in their life. This is where majority of people's problems start. If you are enmeshed with your parents, then you told them everything, and they told their sisters, brothers, everything. Now you have a whole bunch of people who couldn't care less about you, knowing exactly what's going on in your life when they shouldn't know any of that. And that can put you at risk, especially if it's good news. So you need to understand that when you tell someone information, you need to know, are they going to spread it? Are they enmeshed? Are they someone who has personal boundaries themselves? Or they're someone who is basically going to spread whatever's going on in your life like wildfire? It's really important for you to wait to share about your future plans as well. This also counts as personal information, but it's in the future. This is where the spiritual stuff comes in, that when people do something, when they have plans and then they share, next thing bad things start happening. They find themselves in the hospital, they find themselves sick, partner breaks up with them, things like that. Bad luck, they lose their job. You really have to be careful when sharing things that haven't happened and refrain from sharing when things haven't happened. Hold off on doing that. Make sure it's done so that whatever negative things that come your way, they can't take away from what you've already done. Thank you so much for joining me. Today was a short episode. It's really important for you to work on these boundaries. Gatekeeping is not all bad. Gatekeeping is self-protection. This kind of gatekeeping that I'm describing in this episode is self-protection, is self-preservation. You don't know people's intentions. You don't live in people's minds. So if someone is not close to you, their input doesn't impact what you're doing, they haven't shown you that they have personal information boundaries, you shouldn't be telling them anything that's going on in your life. Even if they're upset, let them be upset. Because a lot of people who are nosy actually want to fake closeness with you. So they'll be like, I can't believe you didn't tell me. I can't believe you didn't tell me. And you think, oh my gosh, this person actually cares. But they're just nosy. And they're upset that you didn't tell them so that they could spread the news to other people or meddle in it or cause issues for you. So you need to always be aware that you should keep your personal information to yourself. Future plans should not be shared until it's solid. Nothing can stop you. And not everyone who's listening to you actually cares about what's going on in your life and wants you to succeed. Next week, we're going to be talking about making the decision to leave toxic environments, why it's difficult, why people struggle with this, and how you can get past that. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you get notifications. My name is Chido Mpofu. I'm your personal emotional intelligence detective, always keeping it real. See you next time.